Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for tuning in to the Other Side of Success podcast. My name is Tyler Rutledge, and I am your host. Before we get into today's show, let me please thank my sponsors, Farmhouse Fitness, movement with purpose. Y'all, I love this place. I've been there for over a year. It helps me stay in shape both physically and mentally. Come check us out. Coach Peggy is the best. In Game Day Men's Health in Tuscaloosa, they're located on 13th. These folks are awesome. First class spot. They're going to take great care of you. They're helping me get my body dialed back in with a personalized peptide treatment. I cannot recommend them enough. And this year, I'm a Capital One business credit card ambassador. I've been using Capital One for over 11 years, and we love the flexibility that we have with our points to use as bill credits and the way that it helps us travel. Enough with that, folks. I am so excited for today's guest. Today, we have Ashlyn Kuyrkendall on the show, and she is known on social media as the Triple Threat Mom, where she helps thousands of women find affordable fashion deals and dupes without sacrificing style. She's a teacher and a mom of two. Ashlyn has grown her following to over 26,000 people on Instagram with her authentic personality, humor, and eye for everyday style. Beyond the shopping links, she's passionate about encouraging women to embrace confidence, avoid the comparison trap, and stay grounded in their faith. Ashlyn, welcome to the show.
Hi, thanks for having me.
Man, so what does it sound like? How do you feel when you hear your bio?
I'm looking around like, who are you talking about? Are you talking about me?
Yeah.
It's wild. It's wild, but I'm very grateful. I'm very blessed, and it's very flattering. So thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you've done an incredible job with your content, and we're going to jump all into that here in a little while and really dig into the struggles behind that and kind of how that all happened. But I want to go back to the very beginning. I've obviously had a little bit of an opportunity to know you personally outside of this, but take everybody back to the beginning of life for you. You've not always been a content creator on Instagram. So where did
Right.
you grow up? What was your
Oh man. I grew up in West Palm Beach, Florida. So I am from a vacation destination. Beautiful, beautiful place. But something I have learned is that when you grow up at the beach, you don't go to the beach.
Mm,
You know, where do you vacation? Probably just like every other high school girl in America, went to the tanning bed for prom because I live at the beach, but I don't have time to go. So I grew up in West Palm Beach, Florida. I went to a small private Christian high school called the King's Academy. Love it. And from there came to Samford University in Birmingham. I graduated with about 96 kids. And I think like 13 of us went to Samford. It was a very large number. We almost
wow.
fed this whole group to Birmingham. And it was like that every year. I knew I wanted the small private Christian school experience for college. I like being a big fish in a little pond. I knew I thrived better that way.
Mhm.
Came to Samford. And then once I came to Samford, I fell in love with Birmingham. I had never experienced seasons before. Everything is either hot or really hot or it's raining in
Yeah.
Florida. And I just thought that was normal. I mean, we would vacation in New York. My dad is from New York, so we would vacation in New York. So I'd be there at Christmas time, so I would know snow. But like when the leaves changed that first fall, my freshman year, I was like, this is beautiful. And then I got to discover this whole new side of my wardrobe, which was fall clothes, which I loved. So after I graduated Samford, I didn't really want to move back home. My parents had moved a little bit while I was in college, but I knew like I did not want to go back to Florida. So I stayed in Birmingham and figured out what I want to do. I have an undergrad in vocal performance from Samford. And so I go work a corporate job for a little while, trying to figure out what am I going to do? You know, I've always said when I was getting my undergrad, I wanted to sing and get paid for it. And I was, but how am I going to make this a long
Mm,
term? So during my time in my corporate job, I spent a lot of time in prayer of like, what am I supposed to do? And literally, I remember sitting at my desk at my corporate job, having this moment of what am I going to do? I went through all these things of things I would like to accomplish with my music career.
yeah.
And literally the Lord laid it on my heart. This was in July of whatever year this was. You need to go be a teacher. And I was like,
Mm,
that was not on my to-do list for my
right.
life was being a teacher. But it was such an impression at that time of like, no, Ashlyn, this is what you need to do. So in the next 30 days, I had taken the grad school entrance exam. I had gone a tutor at Samford. When you go back in for music ed, you have to go back into upper level theory classes and things like that. And I've been out for 2 years. So I needed to make sure I was good to go.
Hmm.
And I had enrolled at Samford. The positive side of being an undergrad at Sanford was, well, there's many positive side, but I already knew all the professors. So getting back in for my master's in music education was not overly difficult. I had a great GPA graduating. So by that August, I was enrolled in my master's in music ed. And so for 2 years, I worked full time and I worked at a company in Homewood and then would pop over and take a class here, take a class there. And I would do both at the same time. I had my corporate job was very understanding and very supportive of me taking this step.
Awesome.
So I graduated my master's in music ed and I went to work at a high school about 45 minutes south of here. And I worked there for 10 years. They were the only
Wow.
school I ever worked at. I started there as a single adult. And through my 10 years there, I got married. I had both my kids. I feel like
Right.
I grew up at this school with these families, but it was such a good fit. The biggest downside is I was 45 minutes south of my house, but I loved this community. I loved my students. I loved being a part of their lives. It was a huge joy and a very impactful decade of my life for sure.
Wow. Hey, folks, I'll tell you this too. Go check out some of the Hunter Street sermons on YouTube. This girl can sing. Let me tell
Very
you,
kind.
you've got an incredible voice. Every time you sing, Allie and I look at each other, I'm like, my goodness.
That's very
Listen,
kind.
so
Thank you.
your background is when I hear that, I'm like, this is so polar opposite of what you're doing right now. Maybe the musical theater side, right? Because you're good in front of
Right.
people. You're not afraid of a stage in front of a camera and things like that. Like you just said, you're 45 minutes from home and you've been here for 10 years. At what point did you feel the nudge to be like, I kind of want to start sharing online?
To be honest, it was my husband that really encouraged me with this.
Shout out Tyler.
Uh-huh. Tyler. So around year 9 of teaching, at this point, I had both my kids, Brooks and Kate. At that time, they're like 5 and 3, around that age. And I was a fine arts teacher. I was a choir teacher. And something about fine arts is that our thriving moments are done after school. So I was living at school, 45
Mhm.
minutes away. And so, I mean, the big picture is the more you work, the less you get paid, right? So I was living at school and I loved it, but I love my family. And you kind of have to make a choice. Am I going to stick into this for the long haul, or am being willing to sacrifice this time with my family, or is there flexibility in what I'm doing? So I had this thought around year 9. Sometime in the fall of year 10, I know the change is coming. And Tyler and I are having this discussion of what is this change going to look like? Are you going to walk away from education entirely? Are you going to look for a job closer to home? Are you going to look for a corporate job? I know I have a lot of skills. Many teachers have a lot of skills. We have a very unique skill set that I think would be very beneficial to a lot of companies. I don't think it would be hard to find a job closer to home. And we're having this conversation. And I remember this so clear. We were in the car driving and he goes, "What about being an influencer?" And I chuckle a little bit. I was like, "What?" He's like, "I mean, Ashton, you love clothes. You share clothes all the time with your friends. In college, this is what I did. I would take my friends shopping for hours and I would help them figure out what they're going to buy. This is the whole that part is very normal to me. They would come shop in my closet. We would go to the mall when we had recitals. It's what we do music school. I would spend a weekend and I would go home with my friends and we would spend all day at Lenox Square trying on dresses and figuring out just how to find the right dress. And I love it. I love helping women find the clothes that are affordable, that are accessible, that help them become more confident. And so he was like, "Why don't you can make money doing this?" And I was like, so he planted the seed. And so a few months later, after researching a little bit and talking to him, I was like, I think I'm going to try it. What's the worst that can happen?
Yeah.
And so I did. And so and he's still to this day my biggest fan. My friends support me and my mom and dad support me, but there is nobody that believes in me more than Tyler Kuyrkendall. 100%.
Oh man, that's so cool. It's really neat to hear that, and it's always awesome knowing that your spouse is your biggest advocate and supporter, no doubt. So it just kind of blew my mind. You're like, my husband's the one. I feel like, that's not what I was expecting. I figured it was gonna
Right.
be like you had like hundreds of ladies, being like, "Hey, you should do this," but no, it's my husband. Good job, Tyler. I appreciate that, man. So you kind of lean into this and he planted the seed. At what moment did it click for you and you're like, okay, I'm going to do this? Because as someone who started this podcast from scratch, and I do not spend near as much time doing content as I know you do, it's not easy at all.
Mm.
At what point were you like, I'm going all in, I'm going to do this?
It was in February of 2000. What year are we in now? 25? February of 2024.
Okay.
He was gone on a road trip for the weekend. I had the whole weekend to myself with my kids, and I was like, okay, let's do it. I had thought about the name. I ran it by my friends. What do we think about this? Does it sound too, I don't know if ostentatious is the word, because it's never about, look at me, but it needs to be a catchy name. The triple threat refers to your faith, your family, and fashion,
Mm,
with a little nudge to my music background, right? Because I'm a musical theater junkie. I've spent my entire life performing, singing, dancing, acting. So it's a little wink to that, but also, are you the triple threat mom? Do you focus on your family, on your faith, on your fashion? And so I had, I ran it by them. They were good. So my Tyler's gone and I made the account. And everyone just tells you when you research it, you just got to start posting. You do. The bottom of any influencer's account is ugly stuff. It is. It's just
yeah.
rough go because you don't know until you get into it and figure out what resonates with your audience. How does it look good? What are your struggles? So you just got to start. And I knew I needed to get that bottom of my feed filled up. So I was posting twice a day for the first 30 days, anything just to get that feed up. So I remember this moment. I was like, you guys, you can scroll on my feed now. Like you can go down
Yeah.
and see things. You just got to get stuff out there with the intent of you're not going to make a lot of money in the beginning. There might be a very long time you're not making any money, but you have to, if you believe in yourself and what you are trying to do, you just got to keep going and learning and not being afraid to try new things and redefine what it is you're sharing to make it accessible and to
Mm.
get to that level of success you're looking at.
That's such good advice. I'm curious, and maybe there is somebody else out there that's curious. I know you love this. I think it's clear that you love doing this. Do you think you would still be doing it even if you hadn't monetized it?
I don't know. I think we'd
Yeah.
have to ask Tyler Kuyrkendall about that. Yeah, I mean, because I would say, at this point, we're still not making. I'm not supporting my entire family with
Right.
this, right? We're on the path to hopefully having, the income is always going to grow. But I think you have to look at what your goal is, and are you achieving that goal? Am I losing money every month? No, but you just got to be willing to take. I think with any business, you got to be willing to take that financial risk,
Absolutely.
and Tyler's willing to take it. I'm willing to take it. We're staying within a boundary, but
Yeah. And I think
you got
that's
to be willing to step
interesting.
forward.
I love what you just said because any business, I mean, this is a business. Like, I think that's what is so neat about social media. And we're going to get into that and stuff. There's some unique challenges with social media, obviously, and it has created a lot of opportunity for people.
Hmm.
So tell me a little bit about that on the business side.
Hmm.
Did you have any entrepreneurial experience, or did you just rely on the fact that you're fairly type A confident woman that was like, I'll just get the job done?
I'm a fairly type A confident woman that is
There we go.
stubborn and I refuse to fail.
I love it.
Refuse. So
Yeah.
I have zero entrepreneurial experience. But Tyler is I've talked a lot about him being my biggest supporter. He is in finance, so he has the financial side that's going to keep me on track with how much money coming in, going out. But I'm just stubborn, and if I'm going to put something out there and I'm going to have my name on it, we are going to work as hard as we can to make it the best that it can be at this time with my resources that I have.
Man, that's so cool. What do you so looking at where you are right now on this deal is what's kind of like your why? What drives the triple threat mom account right now?
I think about the mom, even the woman. You don't have to be a mom, but the woman that is in her late 30s, early 40s. My followers are 80% of my followers are between 35 and 55. And so I think about that woman who doesn't have her 25-year-old body anymore, who doesn't have her 25-year-old single income anymore. And, we're budgeting now and trying to figure out what do I wear?
Mm,
What are the trends right now? Because I see the trends and I have PTSD of my middle school years. So how do I wear this and not look ridiculous? And so my why is I want to help you do that. I want to help you find the clothes out there that are cute, that are affordable is my biggest thing. Um, you know, there's so many brands that sell expensive clothing, $200-300 dresses, shirts, and they're adorable, absolutely adorable. But that is not what you can wear every day. Those are for very special occasions. And I want to find my job is to source the more affordable stores, Target, Walmart, Kohl's, source them, shop for these women, and bring them
yeah.
to them so they can save time shopping. They can spend more time with their family. They can stay within their budget. That's my goal. So I think about that woman and I want to help guide her as to how to spend her money wisely and invest in pieces that will last them definitely through the season and hopefully a few seasons to come.
I'm sitting here laughing because Allie and I are sitting in bed the other night and I'm on Instagram on this account, the Other Side of Success account. And I follow you. I make a point to follow all my guests or guests that I want to have on. And you were doing something in some blue jeans. And I looked at Allie and I hit pause on the Instagram and I said, "Hey, do you like these jeans? These are pretty cool." And she's like, "Oh yeah, those are like the sailor pants." I was like, "Oh yeah," she says that in the caption.
Train them well.
I know, man. And I'm laughing because it's funny because I don't know anything about influencing, but I see your content and I'm like, this is so much fun. And before I forget, I have to bring this in now because we're going to get into, I want to talk more about how your faith intersects with what you're doing. Because I know that this is hard to do, but before I forget, because I'm going to forget. And I was like, I made a mental note before we started. You made a reel this summer that was truly like a work of art. And I am going to I don't know how to link it. I'm going to link it or I'm going to just
Okay.
reshare it on my post. But it's the one where you guys are at the beach and it's like you started in the morning and you went all the way through the night. And it was like some sort of rap song. I don't know.
I
If
know.
it has
Yes.
20,000 views, I think I watched it 19,000 times.
Yeah.
And I kept showing Allie, I was like, "Hey, I want to be able to do this. Like, how do I do this?" She's like, "No."
It's the got a white boy in my Rasta.
Yes,
He be feeding
that's
me
it.
pasta and lobster.
Yes. Unbelievable. So friends, when you're listening to this episode, go to her Instagram account, find the reel, pin it. It's unbelievable. All right. Anyways, great work.
Thank
I'm
you.
gonna have to get your help on making something like that because
Thank
that
you.
was
I
just
I
absolutely
wish you could
elite.
have been a fly on the wall of me practicing those lyrics. White boy, my pasta and lops. Like you just, it's a lot. It was a lot. That kind of stuff is the musical theater side of me of like, oh, this is so easy. I love this. I could do this all day.
All right. So I want to jump into where your faith intersects with all of this. And obviously, we go to church together. And so I know that you're a person of faith. I think that if I wasn't a person of faith and didn't know who you were without you having to really say anything on your account, I think it would be clear that the way you carry yourself, obviously dressing modestly, tastefully, you're not a typical fashion influencer that I would consider. I feel like I see some stuff out there and I'm like, oh, yikes. So
Yeah.
how does your faith guide your presence and your decisions that you make?
So I think my faith, the big picture is my faith obviously drives who I am as a woman, who I am as a mom, who I am as just a person. And I think that naturally bleeds over into who I am online. Because the biggest thing with influencing, with what we're trying to do, is you have to be the most authentic version of yourself because people will see it in 2.6 seconds. And you have to be that version of yourself online with what you share on your reels, with what you share in your stories. I don't overshare about my faith in my reels. I try and keep that your reels are kind of like the advertisements. And I get a little bit more into my faith in my stories in the sense of this is who I am and what works
Hmm.
for me. I'm not going to bombard you with it because
Hmm.
I know not everyone that follows me is a believer and that
Yeah,
is okay.
absolutely.
That is their choice. But here is who I am. Here is what works for me. Here is what guides me and what grounds me and what helps me stay focused and what allows me to just walk
Yeah.
in faith every day and be the mom and woman I can be.
Yeah, because I mean, there's a lot of pressure in any business,
Hmm.
but there's a lot of pressure when your job is I got to be in front of a camera and then I got to put this out there in a non-private account for the
Hmm.
world to see, right?
Right.
So,
Right.
like, do you ever wrestle with the identity piece of this, the likes, the comments, the brand deals? Like, I mean, how do you navigate all that?
Yeah. I don't think I wrestle with that part of it as far as personally goes. It doesn't hurt my feelings. I wrestle with it on the business side. This reel is not performing well. Is this going to be okay business wise? It doesn't really affect the identity side of who I am. I
Hmm.
always want a reel to perform well. That is just the business side of it. But something that I've got to remember is that if I have to sleep at night knowing I stay true to who I am and what I believe.
Mm.
And every influencer makes choices and those choices about what they put online, and that is fine. That is for them. But I know what goes online stays online forever.
Yeah.
And I want to be able for my son to look at my content in 10 years and not be overly embarrassed.
Yeah.
It's still mom.
Yeah.
But I want to be able to, I mean, I fully expect people at my church watch this, and I want to be able to walk in church and hold my head up high of what I'm sharing. And so I have to stay true to what that is. And if it's not what is super relatable or what's getting your attention, that's okay.
Yeah.
I pray over this account and I pray that God blesses it and we just keep moving forward.
So, and I mean, I love that. And thank you for sharing that and being authentic in that. I think a question that I wonder, and I'm sure there's some ladies out there that wonder as well, is when women follow you, like what do you hope that they take away?
I saw this reel once and it was about recruitment and, engaging. I get targeted a lot for how to be a more successful influencer. I'd be a more successful content creator is really the term that we use now. And they said people are not going to really remember what you share, but they're going to remember how you make them feel.
Mm,
And I just kind of like I sat there for a second thinking like, how do I make my followers feel? And
yeah.
so I think about this a lot and I pray that I make them feel seen.
Hmm.
I bring them joy. If there's anybody that can laugh at myself, it's me. We have to laugh at our life and our kids and the crazy parts of it. I just hope that I make them feel like they aren't alone out there, that
Mm,
there's another mom. Yes, I'm on the internet, but I'm not any better than anybody else. I'm just as sinful as anybody else. I
yeah.
struggle with parenting. I
Yeah.
struggle, no marriage is perfect. We all struggle with similar
Amen.
things. And so I just want to make them feel seen.
Yeah. Come on. I relate. My goodness gracious. I relate to that so much because I mean, a lot of the conversations I'm having on here, we're talking about the backside of the stuff that nobody sees. And I struggled with that. When I started this deal is like, I don't want people to have this perception of me like, oh, I've arrived. I've got this thing figured out, man. I still say cuss words sometimes. I yell at my wife sometimes. I yell at my kids sometimes. I may have smacked my dog in the cheek last night because she knocked Jack off the couch or my phone into his head, whatever it may be. Goodness gracious, I relate to that, and I think that authenticity right there, Ashlyn, is like what I love the most. Is that when people come across your account, is that they're going to get that right, and I think that's important. We don't get enough of the authenticity. I think our content creation, and let's talk about this a little bit it's like anything, you want to put your best stuff out there, right? And it's like, how do I put my best stuff out there and be true to who I am? What
Mhm.
what kind of decisions do you like? How do you determine how many cuts are you making before you like, okay, I'll put this out there?
So depends on what the reel is about, right? Am I trying to show you this sweater? Sure, I'm gonna style it different ways. Or am I trying to show you some of my family that we're gonna laugh at? I put this reel out this summer of Tyler. We got tattoos of my mom and we put the tattoo on him and our entire family at our beach trip to surprise my mom. It's this picture of her that circulates every beach trip. And Tyler owns this. He puts the picture up no matter where we're at. And so this year he decided we're going to get tattoos of my mom, Lynette. So we film this and I edit this and I sat with it for about 2 or 3 days because there's no such thing as bad engagement, right? And I've learned that sometimes the only way I see people going viral is by creating clickbait and rage bait that's going to get people arguing in your comments. And I refuse to sacrifice my family in that way. I'm not going to hate on my husband. I'm not going to show him in a bad light. I'm not going to show my kids in a bad light
Mm,
because even if it's going to get you followers or rage bait or get you seen, I don't want that.
yeah,
So I filmed this reel of the tattoo and I sat with it for 2 or 3 days and I wanted to do everything I could to show this was a fun family
yeah,
activity, but I really was very hesitant of people being very unkind towards what we were doing, to what people can be unkind about anything.
absolutely.
So I sat with it and I showed it to Tyler, I showed it to the whole family and everyone loved it. And I was like, all right, we're going to post it. And I took a this I look back at it all the time because it's still going great. It's still cooking out there. It's about to hit 1 million views and it ended up on the right side of the internet.
Yeah,
The amount of people that are commenting of this is the most wholesome video I've seen in a long time, or I just love your mom. And I'm like, thank you. Like this,
yes,
why can't we have more of this? Why do we have
amen.
to hate on people and be unkind and insult people. Like, why can't we make these comments fun and positive?
Mm.
And that's what this video turned into. And I was so thankful. But that's always my goal is I don't want to post something for you to comment and hate on it. I'm not going to sacrifice my integrity or my family in that way.
And I think about this too, just from the faith side of that, is like you were being very obedient in what your beliefs are right there. Like, okay, this is who I am. This is what I want to portray. I need to think on this. I need to sleep on this. And then look how it was blessed, right?
Yeah,
Like, how cool
I
is
hope
that?
so. Yeah,
If you look at
it's
it
very
from that
cool.
perspective, it's just like, because you're right. I mean, I don't have a viral video. My friend James Spann, got me a reel that got 13,000 views. And I was like, man, this is awesome. But so I don't
Right,
know what a
right,
million views feels like, but maybe
right.
we'll get there.
Well, let me tell you something, Tyler. A million views feels the same as 13,000.
There
Like,
you go.
it's just a number on a video. I like it for the recruitment side, but I had a friend once tell me I was complaining about a reel. I was like, it didn't perform well. It only got like 3,000 views. And she was like, Ashlyn, can you imagine 3,000 people sitting down and watching something you have to share? And 200 of them said, tell me more. And
Mm,
it took me a second. I was like, yeah, I know. I got to take a step back because in the comparison thing, right? If we're
yes.
comparing, well, this
We're about to get
creator,
into that.
right? If this creator, they're getting 100K on every
Mm,
view. Okay, good for them. But you had 13,000 people look at a content that you made.
that's true.
You got to sit back and be like, I'm doing okay. I can't. That's a good number for you. It's a great number for me. We're going
Yeah.
to move on.
And it's funny in this deal, I have found that some of my favorite episodes, I've loved every episode, but I do have a couple that I feel like I I liked better. Maybe it was the content we talked about, whatever, or I thought I had a really great clip. And to me, I'm like, man, this is it. This is my home run clip, And so far, I'm like, oh, for everyone that I'm like, oh, this is going to be the one that does the deal is like, 200 views, and I'm like, whatever. I keep getting those Instagram ads like, is your clip stuck at 500 views? And I'm like, girl, that's every one of my clips. What are you talking about coming at me like that?
Right.
So let's talk about the comparison game because this entire show was created from my backstory, mental health of getting caught in the comparison trap and the performance based life and chasing numbers that somebody else assigned to me, basically, and what that did and how it took a toll on me. So when we talk about the comparison game, and you said in your intake questions before the show, that comparison game feels like an instant failure. When has that hit you the hardest? Like, how did you get there?
I had to, man, I had to check myself multiple times of, can I do this?
Mm,
Because I'm not as succeeding as fast as X, Y, and Z over here. And my views aren't as high as this person's over here. Can I do this? It took a combination of me saying, yes, you can do this, a combination of my support team, my friends, my inner circle, my husband reminding me of like, you cannot give up yet. Any creator out there, it takes a couple years to
yeah.
get to where you feel established. And it's not just with an established following, but to where you feel like you have found your voice.
Mm,
And that took a while for me. What is it I'm sharing? What am I just sharing a cute Amazon outfit? Like, who am I? Who is my follower? And it takes a while to narrow all that down. Something that I can't take credit for this saying. I don't remember where it came from, but I say this to myself and I would say this to my students all the time. And I say this especially to women because women struggle with this part so much. But celebrating someone else's win does not make you a loser,
man,
right? It
come on.
doesn't. I can
No.
sell it. Like, I can look at these influencers that are years ahead of me and they're hitting big milestones. They're getting bigger followers, bigger collab deals. And I can celebrate that with them because it's not a knock on me.
Mm,
But so many women, we struggle with celebrating other women because we feel like that means that we failed. And
wow.
that's not the case. It just means they're successful in something. And that is great. Let's support them. Let's do that because one day it might be you, it might be me, and we're going to keep hustling until one day it is. And I'm going to push myself to get to that point.
Man, preach. That's incredible. I mean, I agree. And not just women supporting women, men supporting men, people
Yeah.
supporting people, right? I've mentioned this book multiple times on this podcast, and we have a book at our house for our kids, and it's called Have You Filled a Bucket Today? And it's a book that the whole premises of the book is basically like filling other people's buckets makes your bucket full. So it's doing what you said. It's
Mm,
celebrating somebody else's win. It's because when you celebrate their win, you genuinely are going to feel better about yourself. Like, man, that felt good to have a little positive energy, right? It's the simple word. It's why we teach our kids to say thank you and to hold the door open for folks, and it's those things create positive self energy as well as
mhm.
helping someone else too.
Yeah. Yeah.
How do you fight the comparison game when your entire world is built on being visible?
I'm not going to lie. A few months ago, I've gone back a little bit from this, but I did have to mute, I had to mute a lot of other content creator accounts for a little bit.
Mm,
I will never unfollow because that to me is not being as supportive as I can be, but I will mute them. I'll mute those that I feel like are influencing me in a negative way,
wow.
you know? And I don't know if this is okay to say this, but I just hit mute and I need to not follow all these influencers for a hot second so I can focus on me and what I'm sharing because
Hmm.
you have to stay in your lane. If you start going all these different directions, your audience is going to be very confused. Why is she sharing this? This is not me. This is not her. She doesn't know what she's doing. I'm unfollowing her.
Mm,
I have to stay true to what I'm doing. So if that means getting rid of distractions for a hot second, I'll do that. Or I'll quit scrolling for a hot second and
yeah.
focus just on what I'm trying to share. I want to support every creator as much as I can. But when I find myself in that deep, dark alley of like, I don't know what I'm doing here anymore, I have to take a step back and just silence the
Mm,
noise for a second. And then I can step back into it, reminding myself who I am, what I'm sharing, and being fully able to offer that
yeah.
support to women.
Man, yeah, that's good. And it's cool because you can definitely see like your heart for this and the growth, because those are things that I know come with time. Just in my
Hmm.
own mental health journey outside of podcasting or content creation is just that's yeah, you know.
Hmm.
I think setting boundaries, Allie and I talk about this all the time. Like therapists will tell you, like setting a boundary is not for other people, it's for you.
Hmm.
And muting accounts that you feel are pulling you into that trap, right? I mean, it happens to me. It happens to anybody in any business, whether it's fashion or insurance sales, is when you start looking at what other people are doing, right? And that feeling, that nasty, just like, golly, like they're doing it so much better. And then you forget, you're like, well, maybe I should start doing it that way,
Hmm.
and then you're doing like what you just said is you're coming in and now it's like, whoa, 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 I just lost what I'm doing this for.
Hmm.
I'm no longer speaking to the 35 to 55-year olds, right? And
Right.
and then you've really derailed this thing. So I think you having that self-awareness is awesome. And I hope people will take from this is like, hey man, if you're trying this game out, be smart about it, right? Go
Hmm.
mute things that are holding you back. Is that
Right.
kind of what I'm hearing you say?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, you got to protect your mind. I can't, I just said I want to celebrate the wins and I do. I want to celebrate all the wins, but you also have to take care of your home base as well.
Mm,
And I can't pour into anybody else's bucket if I am just, if my bucket is totally empty.
golly.
So,
Yeah. We talk about it all the time. I mean, it's so true. It's why rest, sleep, proper friends, quiet time, quiet house, all of these things are so important because
right.
if you're too busy giving everybody else and in your job, what you're doing, you are literally pouring into other people. It's very mentally exhausting. Let's talk about another thing that's mentally exhausting real quick. Motherhood,
I
being
was
a
knew it.
parent.
I was like, parenting,
Yes.
parenting. Yes.
So like you were talking about for little Brooks, he's going to look back on this thing when he gets Instagram. And I don't know, hopefully it'll be quite a few years before we let our
He'll be
kids have,
25.
yeah, before we let them. But there is going to come a point in time, right, where he will. But being a parent, that's your top
Mm,
priority. I got that. Being a
yeah.
wife first, faithful, all that good stuff, being a parent. How do you navigate being a mom of two, doing the influencing? I see Kate pop in on some of your videos and
Mm,
so adorable. I know that has to just
so
melt your
adorable.
heart. I love your little Brooks up reels too. And his fashion is elite for the
Hmm.
young boy. But how has being a mom shaped your why and the way that you're showing up on?
Shaped my why. Give me a hot second on this one.
Kind of hit you with the deep one right there.
It's okay. First, I think we all can acknowledge that parenting is not for the faint of heart, right?
Yes.
The best part of parenting, and this is going to sound like a catch, but it's the edification that comes with it, right? The self analyzation of realizing how sinful we really are.
Yeah,
You
absolutely.
kind of see your sin a lot when you get married. because you were living with somebody else. But now you have these 2, 3, however many kids you have. You have these little ones that are learning everything from you. You realize you're not as patient as you think you're going
Yeah.
to be. You're not as kind, or, those moments when you take a step back and you're like, what am I doing? How am I doing this?
Hmm.
But all that to say, that part right there has taught me to apologize to my kids
There
a
you go.
whole lot more than I
Yeah.
think I ever thought I was going to. And I love teaching them that it is okay. It's never wrong to say, I'm sorry. If you feel like you've done something wrong, I shouldn't have yelled at you. I should have been kinder, to say I'm sorry to your kids.
Mm.
But something I was taught this, and so I want to pass it on to my kids, is that no matter whatever it is you do, I want you to do it to the best of your ability
Hmm.
and give it everything you've got and take pride in what you do. And whether that means it's my Instagram account, whether that means it's how I'm getting dressed in the morning, my appearance, how I carry myself, how I spend my money, all that is you do it to the best of your ability. And so something through this is I want to show them is, I committed to this. I gave it my all. We'll see where it is in 5 years.
Yeah.
And I took a risk. I started a business this is my dining room.
Yeah.
I started a business in my dining room, and we worked very hard. And now, prayerfully, in 5 years, it's thriving. And we can show them this, that through hard work, dedication, and staying true to yourself and your faith, that Lord willing, God blesses that for you.
Yeah. That's good stuff. Do your kids realize that, like mom's an influencer? I mean, like what is their perception of you right now?
They get very jealous of all the packages I get. Mom, is that for me? No. Why do you always get the packages? Because Tyler, I mean, it is embarrassing. We get a lot. I get a lot. When we go out of town for the summer for a month, I have a house sitter come stay, and I probably had 30 to 40 packages on my dining room table when I came home. And I was like, I'm so sorry. This is really the reason you stay at my house. It's not for my dog. It's to collect my packages that come. So they get very jealous of the packages I get. I don't think they quite understand. They
Yeah.
see my videos. They don't quite understand the internet yet. Brooks loves YouTube because of, help me here, the bottle flipping guys. Dude Perfect.
Yep.
So he wants to create a YouTube, but I think it's because of them, not because of me.
Yep.
That's kind of it. They see me on my phone a lot, which I don't like.
Yeah.
I wish they could understand, like, hey, I'm responding to a message. I'm just working real quick. So I try and pause that as much as I can, but sometimes I just have to finish an edit, or I have to, get something out. But Kate loves to come in here, and this is every mother's moment, is she'll come in here and put my high heels on and walk around the house, or she'll stand in front of the mirror and go, "Ooh, look at mommy." I just laugh.
Oh, that's so
But
good.
they're watching what you do.
Yeah.
I try and just be careful about what I do in front of them, and modeling age appropriately is how much to be on my phone, and
It's
how much I
hard,
share.
and as I was starting this, like one of the things that Allie and I had to have a nice talk about is, and when I got into this passion project is I would find myself just like any normal person, constantly checking, how's my episode doing on my phone, chat GPT, and like, hey, what's a good caption, all this, and wake up early on a Saturday morning to do edits. And, so that became one of the things is like, let's minimize the amount of time you're on the phone with this
Mhm.
at
Right.
home. And that's a struggle. That's a really big struggle for me in general. And then you add the fact that, I do have to post, and I've reconstructed this whole podcast thing since then, but I feel you on that. And yeah, your kids seeing you on the phone a lot. One question that I have, and I hope that a lady is still listening at this point, as they should be, where in the world do you keep all of the clothes? Can we get a behind the scenes, please?
So I have my closet upstairs, which is clothes that I am currently wearing, cycling through. This is my dining room, and I have a hanging rack in the corner of clothes that I'm going to be sharing. Like, these are on my list to share. I'm trying to think of where else I keep them. I have a whole closet in my guest room that is the size of a master bath, full of clothes as well. My husband probably asked me the same question. What are we doing with all these clothes?
Yeah.
So it is on my to-do list of, I have to figure this out. Am I going to donate all of them? Or I would love to do like a sample sale where part of it goes to charity, part of it gets donated. And I haven't figured out the logistics of that yet. What that looks like. Can I invite vendors to come to this where other small businesses can be featured. And then I go down that route of, if I do that, do I have enough clothes? Do I need to accumulate some more? So there's that. I've gotten to the point now. I need to be I'm going to be transparent here. I don't keep everything. I
Yeah.
can't. It's
Yeah.
not smart financially. I don't think it's a wise steward of what I've been given. Amazon now, I've gotten to a point where I have a relationship with vendors. I pick what I want and they will send me and I can keep it. But for Target and Walmart, I do keep a lot, but there's a lot I steam it, I wear it, I show it, and then I return it in a very timely manner and in a sellable condition
Yeah, of
that somebody
course.
else can buy it. I just don't think I don't need all these clothes.
Yeah.
I don't. I'm gonna show them to you, and then I'm gonna take it back to the store and where they can still sell it. A lot of things I do keep, but I do not need 6 new dresses from Target every week. It's just,
Well, I think that's cool. And that makes total sense. I kind of figured that. I don't know why anybody would think that maybe you didn't do that, but I mean,
I don't know.
my
I
wife's
never
not an
even thought about
influencer,
it.
and dadgummit, we're getting stuff from Crazy Yoga off Amazon every
Yeah.
dadgum day,
Yeah.
so the
'Cause once you
UPS store
find
down the
one.
street knows us by first name basis.
Yeah.
So before we wrap up, what's a part of this life you've created online? Like, what's a part of it that most people wouldn't expect?
I think the amount of time it takes,
Mm,
and I think you see this on the podcast side, any kind of content creation is the amount of time it takes to source what you're gonna share, right? To recruit whoever you're gonna have on here. For me, it's sourcing Target, Walmart, Kohl's, the online platforms, to getting them in, to steaming them, to figuring out, does this look good? Am I gonna share this? I don't share it unless I would actually wear it. So would I actually wear this out? Would I buy this? Would I spend my money on this? If that answer is no, it goes right back in the package. To filming it then and then editing and getting it all linked and getting it posted. All that just takes a lot of time. Happy to do it. And the longer you've done it, the quicker you get at it. But it still just takes, I would say, for every reel you see, imagine 6 to 8 hours minimum of just work that goes into, right, that goes into it. And so sometimes we can, I can utilize footage again, and that's helpful. But if it's a haul, if it's an Amazon haul, a Target haul, that is a solid 6 to 8 hours. If it's a singular outfit, I probably can do that one a lot quicker. But it's just the time, and it's great, and I love it. But I
yeah.
don't think anybody quite knows how long everything takes.
I there is no way that people that haven't tried to do something like this can understand that it's not easy.
Mm-mm.
And technology's made it a lot easier as far as cutting stuff, editing, and things like that. But oh my goodness, yes, we could have hours long conversation on
Mm-hmm.
this. I think that's what's so cool, Ashlyn, is that like this is a job. It's a real job.
Mm-hmm.
When people talk about, well, you're posting one video a day, well, that video has 8 hours worth of a work day. It's
Right.
no different than, like you said, getting up and driving to school and teaching for 8 hours and then coming home. It's still something that you have to do. Is there a time that you could share that there was a moment that just was so hard that you're like, you know what, I don't know that I'm going to do this anymore? Have you had that
Yeah.
yet?
Oh yeah. This was so I started this account February of 2024.
Hmm.
And I was still teaching full time. And I remember I would source everything throughout the week. And then Sundays, I would batch film as much as I can and just edit throughout the week. And then once we got busy with school, I would take a month or two off and decide if I'm going to get back into it. Am I going to do this? Am I not going to do this? Uh, Let me tell you, this is a side story, but the moment I kept the account hidden for a hot minute, and the moment my students found it was hysterical because I taught high school and they were like, Miss K, what is this? And
Buddy,
and the girls are loving it. And meanwhile, I'm sitting in a room also with high school boys that are like, you know, I always keep that in the back of my head of somewhere there's a high school boy looking at my account.
one of your
We got
students is still
to,
looking.
that's right. All that to say is I didn't really give it a good, solid go until August. Once I finally left teaching, I'm home now. And August 2024, I'm going to post every day. I'm going to give it everything I've got. And around November, I had these expectations. Expectations really kill you, right? Around November, I had fully expected for it to take off. And I had not. I was still probably under 3,000 followers. And what am I doing wrong? I post my reel and it would get 300 views. And
Mm.
I'm putting way too much work into this to get
Yeah.
300 views.
Yep.
And I remember sitting on my couch being like, what is my next step? Am I going to keep doing this? Because I'm spending a lot of time, I'm spending a lot of money doing this, or am I not going to do this? And there's a lot of creators that would blame Instagram, right?
Mm.
Instagram is not showing my stuff to people. It is Instagram's fault. And sure, Instagram is not perfect, but Instagram is a free platform that which I'm trying to utilize to make money. So I can't hate on it that much.
That's right.
But I don't think Instagram is the problem. I'm always going to look to me. What is it that I'm doing? Obviously, I am not speaking to the right audience. I'm not sharing things that are helpful to my
Mm.
audience. It's me. So I have this moment of like, I got to reevaluate what I'm doing, how I'm sharing, how I'm editing, what I'm sharing, what this looks like. And I like did a massive overhaul of what my content looked like. I put a little bit more money into my editing software.
Mm.
I dug down deep and decided I've dug my heels in even more, I guess we could say at that moment of I could either walk away or the stubborn Ashlyn can come out, and the stubborn Ashlyn came out and I refused to fail. So I dug my heels in more, and uh, it turned out I didn't explode right after that, but I could at least be more proud of my content,
Right.
and my views were higher, my engagement's higher. I want to encourage you with views of views they are a metric that we look at, but they are not a definition of success.
Right.
I have to stop looking at views. I consider them, but I do not gauge the success of my reel based off views. I look at the engagement. Am I helping someone with this reel? Are people watching it? They are. For me, are they utilizing the feature of being able to get a link to my products that I'm sharing? Yes, they are. The views are just who Instagram is showing it to. Do I wish that number's higher? Of course I do. But I know I've helped someone with this reel just based off the comments, based off the
Mm.
feedback. I'm going to sleep on it, going to accept it, and I'm going to move forward with
Man,
it.
golly, that's so good. I appreciate you giving me and our listeners just like a behind the scenes of what it really takes to do what you're doing. It's incredible. Before we get to our fun segment to close out the show, I do want to ask, as I ask every single guest, where you're sitting right now today, what is your current definition of success?
I think it's twofold. I think the Jesus answer, which is what I tell my students, of like the answer that's always going to be correct, right? Your Jesus answer is, am I helping women do what I set out to do? Am I helping the 35 to 50-year-old woman shop affordably with clothes that are accessible, that they can get, dress their bodies and stay within their budget, spend more time with their families, all those things? Am I doing that? Yes. But I think I would be naive to say that was it. I think there is a financial component that comes into this because it is a business.
Yes.
So am I on track to be successful financially with this? I think that if A, then B, right? So I
I
would
love
hope
that.
that I am helping these women. And if that is the case, then I think I can't help but profit financially because there is the affiliate part that comes into this. So big picture is I want to help these women. Back pictures, I do want to be successful. I do want to be able to provide for my family,
Yeah.
to say that my time working at home has been helpful. And whether that means, I can pay my mortgage or I can take us on a vacation. What does that level of financial contribution look like? I don't know yet, but I would like to be able to provide some financial stability for my family as well.
Love that. Thank you for sharing.
You're welcome.
Let's finish with my favorite segment. This is called the rapid fire segment.
Ooh,
So
okay.
you just kind of, I got a couple questions here that, we're going to have fun with. The first
Okay.
one, heels or sneakers?
Heels all
I
day.
knew it. There was
Yeah.
no question. I don't even know why
Yes.
I put that on
I
there.
love a date night where I get to get dressed up. Those are my favorite.
Yeah. I don't know if you can say this or not. Favorite collab you currently have?
Ooh, well, I can't say future collabs yet. I do have a lot lined up for September, which is very exciting.
Okay.
I did just partner with Walmart, which was it was a bucket list thing for me to be able to do.
Yeah.
Fine. Like it won't be the last time, but it was, as soon as I got the email, I screenshotted it and sent it to Tyler. He was out of town on business. And I was like, oh my gosh, this has
Yes.
happened. They see me.
I
But
love it.
yeah,
That's
yeah,
so cool.
yeah.
Who is your dream collab?
Ooh, this is a tough one. So it's my dream, so I can make it what I want. It is going to be anthropology, but a special triple threat mom segment that has a more affordability to the whatever line I bring.
Okay.
I love anthropology. They have beautiful things. Their things can be worn for years, but I want to make it more accessible for the everyday.
Yeah.
So A dress is great, not for 250. Let's make it under $80
Yeah.
and let's make that my dream collab.
Yeah, my credit card loves Anthropology too, so I
Mm,
feel you,
you can't
girl.
go wrong. Let me tell you, my
Hey.
most successful segments, my most successful reels are when I find the Anthropology looks for
Yeah,
less on Amazon, hands down. And
yeah.
I love doing it. That's like my sauce. I love it.
Golly, I'm gonna have to hide this episode from Allie. Uh, all right, if you got to dress one person, living or dead, who would it be?
Kate Middleton, all day, every day.
That's a good one. Let's
She
make it
is
happen,
my
folks.
She is my fashion icon. Like I have a few friends that are on the same wavelength with me is that next time she comes to the States, and she comes to the States like 3 days morning. They don't give us months in advance, but the next time she comes, we are hopping on a plane and we are going to go and we are going to see her. I love the way that she always, I love the way she dresses, but she always looks great, but she's always conservative, feminine, classy. She rewears things, which I appreciate, I, the utmost respect for her wardrobe.
Let's make it happen. Let's
Let's
let
do
the
it.
internet do some work for us, guys. Help
Yes.
us find a way to allow Ashlyn, the triple threat mom, style Kate Middleton. We got to make
Yes.
it happen.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Last question. I think I know the answer to this just based
Okay.
off of our at the very beginning. You get a week's paid vacation, all expenses included. Are you going to the lake or are you going to the beach?
Ooh, okay, I'm gonna throw you a curveball at this one. I wanna go to a pool on a beach. I wanna look at the beach, and I wanna hear the beach. I do not wanna get in the sand. I just wanna lay at the pool and enjoy the not sandness of the vacation.
My mind is blown and you sound like my Lucy Rutledge because that's
Yep,
exactly what she does when we go to the
yep,
beach.
yeah. I love the beach, but I'd rather just sit and get in the pool and look at the ocean.
Golly, I love it. Well, listen, Ashlyn, thank you so much for your time today. I have thoroughly enjoyed this conversation. Certainly not one that I thought I would have when I got into this deal. I know your time is valuable. I appreciate you. Our listeners appreciate you. I wish you absolutely nothing but the best. And we
Thank
will
you.
be sure to link all of your stuff in our show notes so people can have access to you. And I
Thanks.
thank you so much for coming on.
It's been a pleasure. This was a huge honor, so thank you very much for having me.
Good job.